Welcome to WrestleTalk and welcome to my review of SummerSlam 2023 in about 10 minutes. This show began with Logan Paul versus Ricochet in the most viral match in WWE history. The virality was so viral that the viral match became viral when the viral wrestler did his viral entrance with his viral drink and viral, you get the idea. When WWE weren't harping on about this match being the most viral match that ever viraled, it was pretty fun though. It started off a bit slower than you'd think for a match like this, but by the end it was really fun. Lots of back and forth action, lots of very fun near falls. Logan somehow managed a buckshot lariat from in the ring, out of the ring to the outside, and that feels illegal, but he did it somehow. However, the finish came when one of Logan's goons handed him some brass knuckles behind the referee's back, and Logan knocked out Ricochet for the win. This was a fun way to kick off the show, definitely nowhere near the most viral match in the history of ever, but pretty good. After that came Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar 3, after a super self-indulgent video package about how epic this saga has been, despite us still not knowing why it even started in the first place. Now, there were rumors abound before SummerSlam that there may have potentially been a stipulation announced for this match, but the psychology of this one worked so well without one. Brock was portrayed as his dominant beast character once more, reliving the days of being Suplex City Machine right after he conquered the streak and John Cena. There were suplexes aplenty, and Brock's insistence that Cody take a countout loss to save himself was great. Brock mullered Cody on the outside, hitting an F5 to the floor and an F5 through the announce table, both of which Cody managed to get back into the ring for at the count of 9. But after some Kimura lock, Cody being portrayed as the beat-up, broken, but eternally determined babyface, he made his comeback, locking in his own Kimura on Brock, hitting 3 crossroads to get the victory. Brock shook his hand after the match, and that puts that saga to rest. So, why did Brock attack him again? In all seriousness, this was also very fun, another great addition to the card. I assume Brock might take some time away now, but I wonder what's next for Cody. It was time for the Slim Jim Battle Royal next, which was actually much better than it had any right to be. Omos was added last minute, and who could possibly eliminate him? There were some good stories running throughout this Battle Royal though, with Shinsuke Nakamura, Tommaso Ciampa, and Bronson Reed's beef being felt, Chad Gable getting a stellar showing and hitting some wonderful suplexes, and of course, LA Knight being the most over man on the show. Knight ended up getting the win in this one, last eliminating Sheamus, and it's nice for Knight that he got on the card and got a win, but I'm not 100% sure what the point of this was, other than for WWE to get some sponsorship money. If there were some stakes attached to this, I'd be all on board, but this feels particularly hollow after Trish and Becky were reportedly cut due to time constraints. Still though, LA Knight got a win, and that's a thumbs up from me. Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey came next, and look, here's what I liked about this match. Shayna Baszler was portrayed as a serious threat. That's good. And this was probably the best worked MMA style match in WWE history. That bar, though, is exceedingly low. And while they managed to put on something that was at times borderline okay, this style just doesn't work in WWE because worked MMA looks ridiculous, especially coming from two people who have done actual MMA. Even as someone who doesn't watch MMA barely at all, I could still tell very quickly that this was being a bit derivative. The crowd chanted boring, which it was, and while Shayna got the win by making Ronda pass out, which is still the correct result, this didn't achieve what they wanted it to achieve. Still though, if we get crazed killer NXT Shayna back, that's undoubtedly a good thing. Up next was a lot of people's second most anticipated match on the card, Drew McIntyre versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. This was exactly what you'd expect it to be. Stiff as a dick, chops galore, and the most purple of chess by the end. There were some legitimately great nearfalls, including Gunther kicking out of a claymore, but in the end it was a decisive combination of a big splash, lariat, and powerbomb that put Drew away. I've seen some people be disappointed in this match because it wasn't as good as Sheamus versus Gunther or as good as the triple threat at WrestleMania, and while you're right, I don't think it was, that doesn't make it bad. This was still a 4.5-star match instead of a 5-star one, which I cannot possibly rank as a bad thing on the show. This was awesome, and Gunther's road to breaking Honky's record continues. After that came my match of the night, which I don't think I'd have said before this night began. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. The dynamics of Seth versus Finn, 7 years removed from their Universal Championship match at SummerSlam 2016, as well as Judgment Judgment Day looming with Damian Priest holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, it was a very tasty setup, and boy howdy, did they deliver. The match psychology was simple but effective, with Balor working over Seth's left arm for the majority. As predicted, Balor of course hit the buckle bomb into the barricade, the same move that injured Balor in that match with Seth all those years ago, which was a great callback. This led into a sequence at the end of the match with some genuinely heart-stopping false finishes. Damian Priest came out with his briefcase in tow, distracting Rollins, and behind the referee's back, Priest hit Seth, straight into a pedigree from Balor onto Seth, but Seth kicked out. After some more shenanigans involving the rest of Judgment Day, Seth hit the stomp on Balor, but Balor kicked out. Priest offered to help Balor by using the briefcase as a weapon, but Balor initially declined. But after he couldn't put Seth away, he changed tack, asking for the briefcase, but by this point, Priest had second thoughts. He slowly slid the briefcase into the ring and walked around the ring to try and distract the ref, but Rollins used that to his advantage, hitting the stomp onto Finn onto the briefcase to retain. Priest and Balor stared at each other after the match, with Priest silently shaking his head at Finn. I really liked this match. The action genuinely had me on the edge of my seat, and my jaw dropped at least like 3 times in this match alone. While I think Balor winning would have potentially set up some more interesting avenues to take the world title, I'm not annoyed at all about the route they've taken. Big thumbs up for me on this one. The women's triple threat WWE title match came next between Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Charlotte Flair. Very bad and awkward product placement aside on Bianca's entrance, gross, this match always felt like something was slightly off to me. Like they were just a step out of time or not quite on the same page all the time. The action was good, but it didn't hook me in like some other matches on the card did. The story of this one was Bianca being Super Bianca. You know, that thing that some fans have been complaining about. So WWE did that, but more of it. She had an injured knee during the match, and after a bump to the outside was fake legit injured and was being taken out of the match by medical professionals, which I did not buy for a second. Bianca powered her way back into the match, breaking up a figure 8 on Asuka with a top rope 450 splash, but Charlotte kicked out. Charlotte later on locked in the figure 8 on Bianca with her already damaged knee, but before she could tap, Asuka misted Charlotte, went to kick Bianca, but Bianca ducked, rolled Asuka up, and got the pinfall victory. Bianca is your new women's champ. I thought the finish and story in isolation was very well done. It told a compelling story of the ultimate underdog overcoming all the odds. Looking outside that bubble, though, this was a bit more of what people have been complaining about, with Bianca always winning, and with Asuka continually feeling like an afterthought in her own matches. But the night didn't stop there, because we've got a new injured champion on our hands. So here's Io Sky and Bayley, with them taking out everyone at ringside as well as the injured Bianca. Io cashed in her Money in the Bank briefcase, hit a moonsault, and pinned Bianca to become your new women's champion. While I may not have gotten too much out of the match beforehand or the story with Bianca, the way it was done perfectly set up the Io cash-in, which was a genuinely heartwarming moment with Bayley and Io embracing before being joined by Dakota Kai. Damage Control celebrated 1 year after joining forces at SummerSlam 2022. The end result of this was great, I just wasn't a huge fan of how we got there. And lastly, it's tribal combat. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. I don't need to go too much into the weeds on this match because you would guess a lot of the stuff. A lot of taunting, chair shots, kendo sticks, a couple of table spots, a solo Sikoa ruining Jey's day. You get the picture. Jey had a couple of nice near falls, but after it looked like he had the winning formula, that's when it happened. Roman accidentally speared Solo earlier in the match, leading to Solo questioning Roman's allegiance later on. Jey took advantage, spearing Roman through the barricade and taking out Solo through the commentary table. Jey speared Reigns again, hit an Uso splash for the 1, 2... But a mystery person dragged Jey out of the ring, much in exactly the same way Solo did during Drew's bout with Roman at Clash at the Castle. The mystery person was revealed to be Jimmy Uso. Turning on his brother, Jimmy super kicked Jey, threw him back into the ring, and Roman got the victory. Roman retains, Jimmy turned on Jey, and the Usos are seemingly no more. Right, so I said on the SummerSlam predictions video on WrestleTalk podcast that if Jimmy turned on Jey, this story would officially jump the shark. On paper, I stand by that statement. Without any reasons given right now, that turn makes absolutely no sense based on everything that has happened up to this point from the Bloodline's inception to now. I'm not gonna be naive and claim that there's nothing they can do to save this, but what I will say is they better have a damn good explanation promo from Jimmy to rationalize what happened here, because everything we've been told about Jimmy and Jey up to now would indicate that Jimmy would never, ever betray his brother. This is literally what the entire story has been about. Their brotherhood, their bond, and how Roman can't break that. I went into this match not expecting Jey to win. I thought it would have been narratively neat, sure, and I definitely would have enjoyed it had he won, but I expected Roman to win. I just don't think that this finish is what people wanted. WWE has done a miraculous job in reinvigorating the Bloodline story in 2022 and 2023, but now, you can't keep delaying that gratification. You can't keep denying the end of the story, because there's only so long people will wait for it. People will start to check out. For some people, that was way before 2022. For some, it was Drew McIntyre. For some, it was Sami Zayn. For some, it was Cody Rhodes. And now for some, it's gonna be Jey Uso. Is there anything left of the Bloodline story? Of course there is, but they've got a mountain to climb to make this seem like a good decision. Does anybody want a Jey versus Jimmy feud? I personally really don't. And while I don't speak for all by any means, the general consensus that I'd heard is that people weren't a fan of this one, and I think that's absolutely valid. So overall then, SummerSlam. I thought it was fine. The wrestling was all great, aside from the MMA rules match and some slight botchiness in the women's triple threat, and compared to the standard that Triple H has set for his PLEs this year, this didn't come close. While pretty much every PLE in 2023 has been a 4 or 5 out of 5, this one is just a 3, and a low 3 at that. But do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments, and if it's your first time here, please do subscribe and like the video. And while you're at it, check out this fun video where Ollie and Luke review every single SummerSlam in 3 words or less. Here's a clip.
I think that will happen to Gunther too. Let's get saucy.
Incredible crowd reactions.
No holds barred!
No holds barred!
Yeah! What a movie!
What a film. Zeus.